Honey, I'm not hiding it anymore. I used to tuck my heart in the folds of apology and polite smiles. I used to make myself smaller, to make others comfortable. But I've been aching in silence, burning with unspoken truths, and I can't do it anymore. I used to say, I'm fine, like it was a prayer I didn't believe in. My voice trembled behind my teeth, my soul stifled under the weight of, what will they think? No more. Not today. Today I am unwrapping the versions of me I've hidden in drawers labeled too much and not enough. I am dusting off my rage, my softness, my fire, my tenderness, my wildness. I laughed too loudly once, and someone said, "That's not ladylike." So I tucked my laughter into my ribs and let it rot there for years. But honey, my joy deserves space. It deserves to echo off the walls, like sunlight through stained glass. If my laugh shakes the room, then let the room shake. I cried in front of a stranger, and they looked away, as if my tears were embarrassing. So I cried in the shower, in parked cars, into pillows that swallowed my sobs. But sorrow is sacred. Tears are the water that grows gardens inside the wounded. I no longer apologize for emotion. I said no once, and they called me difficult. I said yes too often, and lost myself in the pleasing. Now I say maybe, only to myself. Maybe I owe the world less than I thought. Maybe I owe myself everything. I was told to dim, to turn the brightness down, to be likable, palatable, agreeable. But I am a constellation. You don't dim a constellation. You trace it. You admire it. You get lost in it. There were moments I changed my voice, my style, my dreams to fit into boxes I didn't even want to live in. I auditioned for roles I never wrote. I wanted approval, like it was oxygen. Now I want authenticity, like it's fire, because it is. It burns, but it also warms. They said, "Be strong," and I misunderstood them. I wore strength like armor, not knowing it could also be a scar, or a soft gaze, or a voice that cracks, but still speaks. Honey, I'm not hiding anymore. I bleed, and I let it show. I break, and I let it echo. There were nights I starved for someone to understand me, to see beyond the surface. Now I understand myself and realize some people will never see you because they refuse to look deeper than their own comfort. I've been called too much, too intense, too emotional, too sensitive, too deep, and yet people drown in shallow waters every day. So I will stay deep, wild, messy, true. There is power in staying, in saying, I deserve more, in choosing silence not because you're afraid, but because you've outgrown the noise. I am not hard to love. I just no longer make it easy to love me wrongly. I wore shame like skin once, wrapped around me tight, stitched with old guilt, inherited silence, and cultural compromise. Now I unzip it and step out like rebirth. I danced like no one was watching, and then someone watched, and I stopped. But what if they watched and found their own rhythm? What if freedom is contagious? This isn't rebellion. This is return to the girl who dreamt boldly, to the woman who loved without armor, to the spirit that lived before the world told her to quiet down. I don't owe pretty. I don't owe politeness. When it chokes me, I don't owe forgiveness. to those who never asked. I give what is true, not what is expected. There were days I wanted to be saved. Now I save myself. Every morning I rise. Every time I speak the truth. Every time I choose myself. When the world offers illusion. I was not born to disappear. Honey, if you're reading this, and you feel the cracks starting to widen in your chest, let them. That's where the light gets in. Let your grief breathe. Let your anger scream. Let your joy dance. Let your heart ache openly. Don't flinch from yourself anymore. You are not a burden. You are a blooming. You are not too much. You are a mirror of the cosmos. You are not wrong for feeling deeply. That's your gift, not your flaw. No more pretending. No more shrinking. No more becoming what others demand at the cost of your soul. If someone cannot love you in your rawness, your reality, your resounding thunder, they were only ever in love with the silence in you. Let them go. Honey, I'm not hiding anymore. I will write until my hands shake, speak until my voice breaks, love until it terrifies, and live, truly live, until every corner of this life knows my name. Because this isn't just survival. This is reclamation. This is art. This is war. This is peace. This is everything I am. Unhidden, unfolded, unapologetic. I am the storm, and I am the shelter. I am the scream, and I am the silence afterward. I am the wound, and I am the healing. Honey, if you've been hiding too, come out. We can be loud together. We can be wild together. We can finally be free. They used to tell me that quiet girls were beautiful, that softness was holiness, and loudness was shame. So I stitched silence into my skin and made myself a poem no one could read. But now I speak like thunder on purpose. Now I write in a way that the whole sky listens. And if my truth is too loud, then let the falsehoods break. They tried to convince me that vulnerability was weakness, but I've seen how strong you have to be to stand in a room with your heart exposed and your hands still open. That's not weakness, that's war paint. I used to armor myself with perfection, hair in place, words rehearsed, smile ready, tears held back like prisoners. But perfection is a cage where nothing grows. Now I choose messy, real, flawed, because at least that breathes. I don't want to be the kind of woman who survives the fire and then pretends she didn't burn. I want to be the woman who walks out of the flames, scorched, smoky, smiling, saying, "Look what I lived through. Now watch what I build." They taught me to make myself a pretty package, all bows and boundaries, all sweetness and silence. But I am more storm than stillness, more root than ribbon, more depth than they ever expected. And I'm done apologizing for that. I have been rewritten by the hands of others, people who didn't know how to hold me. So they shaped me into something that fit their narrative. But no more ghostwriting, no more borrowing voices. This story is mine, written in full-bodied ink, spelled out in sweat, grief, joy, and clarity. I gave pieces of myself away to people who never said thank you. They took my softness like it was free. But I've learned that love is not charity. When it empties you, you are not meant to pour until you disappear. You are meant to overflow without draining. I watched myself fade in order to stay in rooms that were never lit for me. And now I refuse. If I walk into a room and feel myself dim, I know the lights are broken, not me. I no longer chase belonging in spaces that ask me to betray myself. If the table doesn't have room for me, I'll build my own, with wildflowers in the center, and seats for anyone who dares to show up as they are. I don't owe explanations for why I changed, for why I walked away, for why I loved them fiercely and still left. Sometimes survival wears the face of goodbye. Sometimes healing means leaving. They told me, don't speak unless you're certain. So I stayed silent, even when the truth burned. But I am done waiting until I'm perfect to speak what's real. Now I talk in drafts and still feel holy. Now I write in run-on sentences and still feel free. I've been through storms that didn't make headlines, the quiet breakdowns, the invisible battles, the moments I held myself up with nothing but breath and grit, and no one saw them, but I did, and I honor her, that woman who kept going when it would have been easier to stop. You don't need an audience to be brave. You don't need applause to be real. You only need truth and the courage to let it live outside your chest. I have fallen in love with my contradictions, the softness and the steel, the silence and the scream, the girl who still wants to be held, and the woman who saves herself. I am not confusion. I am complexity, and I contain multitudes. Sometimes I dance with my pain, because fighting, it only makes it sharper. Sometimes I hold it like a child, not to fix it, but to remind it that even sorrow is worthy of love. I do not aim to be palatable anymore. Not to lovers, not to strangers, not to family who only call when they need something. I am not a taste to be acquired. I am a flavor you either crave or you don't understand. I once thought love meant sacrificing myself. Now I know it means bringing myself fully and being met there. Love that asks you to shrink is not love. It's conditioning. Love that sees you, holds you, rises with you. That's the revolution. Honey, I'm not hiding it anymore. I want the kind of joy that roars, the kind of friendships where we talk about our fears and hold space and cry and laugh all in one breath. I want the kind of life that doesn't need filters or masks to feel beautiful. I want to show up messy, unsure, heart in my hands, and say, this is me. Can you love me here? And if not, then I will keep walking, because I know now, not everyone can meet you in your fullness, but those who can will never ask you to dim. This is the year I stop ghosting my own dreams. This is the month I write even when the words tremble. This is the day I look in the mirror and say, you are enough, you are enough, you are enough, until the echo becomes truth. There is no badge for burnout, no prize for breaking under the weight of expectations. Rest is not laziness. Rest is revolution. Rest is refusal to treat your soul like a machine. Let them call you selfish for choosing peace.